Corinthian Casuals are a team in the Combined Counties League Premier Division South. Despite that, they're one of the most important clubs in world football. Here's why. The club was formed in 1939 as the result of a merger between Corinthians FC and Casuals FC. Now, Corinthians FC were founded in the late 1800s when the FA's top brass were sick of getting pumped by Scotland every time they played them. As a result, a man called Nicholas Lane Jackson set up an amateur side which would bring in the best players who could all play for the national side. And it worked. It wasn't long before England were dominating the international fixtures they played, and it was largely down to Corinthians. In fact, in 1894 and 1895, they played consecutive games where Corinthians provided the entire England 11. But the thing is, the players refused to play professional football. They didn't believe in it. They wanted to spread the values of sportsmanship, competition, and played for the love of the game. It also helped that most of the players were Oxbridge graduates who didn't need the money. But instead of entering the league and cup competitions, they played exhibition football and toured the world, bringing the beautiful game with them. And it was this which spread the game throughout the world and made it so popular. Most famously, in 1910, they travelled to Brazil. And the locals in Sao Paulo were so impressed, they started their own team under the same name. Yes, the same Corinthians who won the FIFA Club World Cup in 2021, one of the biggest football teams in Brazil. Now, they were global superstars, and despite not being professional, Corinthians drew in the crowds. Everybody wanted to play them, everybody wanted to watch them. So much so, they regularly played the winners of the FA Cup in what eventually became the Community Shield, winning most of the time. They actually inflicted Manchester United's worst defeat, 11-3, a record which still stands to this day. Now, fast forward to today, Corinthian Casuals still don't pay their staff or players. The ethos of sportsmanship is still at the heart of everything that they do. And even though they're a side in the lower leagues, if you make the trip to King George's Field in Tolworth just off the A3, you'll most likely bump into Brazilian Corinthians fans who often make the pilgrimage across the globe just to watch their founding team play.
Yeah, good morning. Welcome to Sunday Edition with myself, Shaun, Custis and Henry Winter. What's going on at Liverpool? They were hammered 3-0 at home by Forest yesterday, and big questions are being asked of manager Arne Slot. Is his job really on the line? Ben Stokes and Brendan McCullum's jobs are safe, but they've got serious concerns to address after England lost the opening Ashes test in just 2 days. We'll get the view of an Aussie journalist, so it'll be tin hats on time. Celebrations in Scotland, though, as they qualified for the World Cup for the first time since 1998. We'll be finding out the secrets of their star man, Scott McTominay, from his first coach. You can get in touch with the show, text us on 81089, or WhatsApp us on 03717 223344. We're also live on YouTube and your smart TV. Just search talksport.com/watch for more details. This is Sunday Edition on talkSPORT. Right, Henry, before we get to the back pages, there was a defeat for Anthony Yard overnight in Saudi, stopped in the 7th by David Benavides in their WBC light heavyweight title fight. And in F1, it's still up in the air a bit after Las Vegas because Lando Norris's title hopes could be in jeopardy as he could be disqualified after the Las Vegas Grand Prix. I would get Henry to explain all the technicalities of skid boards and how if they're a bit...
Skid blocks.
Skid blocks. Well, there you are. You know. it could be skid blocks not big enough anymore when you cross the line.
It was a day for defensive blocks yesterday, but yeah, skid blocks. But also it could affect Oscar Piastri.
Piastri as well, although apparently he may not have been quite as hard on his skid block as Lando Norris was. It's very, very, it's a bit technical. I mean, initially they thought it was because he didn't have enough fuel, Lando, when he finished, but now it seems it could be this. But they've been investigating it for quite a while now.
I hope they investigate the Lego Cadillac.
all those trophies.
A late entry to the race.
Yeah. Well, fingers crossed for Lando Norris, because if he holds on to his second place, then he's in pole position, I suppose you would say, in the title race. But that'll have a serious effect with, is it 2 Grand Prix still to go?
Yeah, and the sprint. Yeah.
And the sprints next week, where there's a lot of points. Go, Henry, you're full of this F1 knowledge. That's right. Sprint points up.
It's fascinating. Well, look, 2 Brits on the podium.
No, absolutely
it is. You should absolutely celebrate
but
that.
They might. Do they go back? They can't go back and represent the trophies if those two are disqualified.
We'll have to dry out the champagne, put it back in
absolutely.
No,
but that'll be a big blow.
Well, it'll be huge. I mean, I guess it opens it up a little bit in terms of the title race, but you would still.
Verstappen will finish him off if he gets disqualified here, I reckon.
He was very measured in his interview afterwards. I thought it was quite I like the way they get the guy from Avatar, the Hollywood actor, to go in and interview them. I don't know
why. You like it? I don't like it.
Well, I guess it's all part of the sort of the Netflix style Hollywood showbiz element, particularly in Las Vegas to F1. I mean, it was a bit different.
It was.
I'm so humbled to interview you. You're so brave getting into these cockpits and flying around at top speed with your strange skid blocks and all that. But it was a bit different. Avatar interviewing.
And because we get up early on a Sunday, we were able to see most of the Las Vegas Grand Prix before getting in here.
I was expecting to be getting up early and seeing the cricket, which unfortunately is reflected very much by the back pages.
Indeed. Feel the pain on the back page of the Mail on Sunday. This is after Stokes tells England to let the hurt sink in.
Yeah, I mean, as you would expect, the broadsheets go to town on it. I mean, the Sunday Times, shell-shocked. They've got a 4-man pace attack of writers coming in off long run-ups. Mike Atherton, Alistair Cook, Martin Samuel and Simon Wilde on a dramatic 2-day defeat. Pages 2 to 7. I mean, they're not holding back the Sunday Times. Shell-shocked, fantastic picture by Gareth Copley of Getty Images of Stokes. I mean, it's just a close-up of him looking genuinely shell-shocked.
And he did say he was shell-shocked.
Yeah, absolutely.
Game, didn't he?
Yeah.
And what Martin says about teams' faith in Bazball shrunk before our eyes. Well, the Aussies seemed to Bazball us into submission in their second innings, didn't they? I mean, they went along in a fair old lick.
They did, yeah. I quite like the sport, the Stars Sunday's back page. Baz Borful, England humbled in Ashes, battering from Rory Dollard in Perth. Captain Stokes says we are all shell-shocked. There's one of them is absolutely shell-shocked in the Sunday Express. So various versions of that.
I mean, seriously, what do you think it means? We're all like a bit of cricket, and after day one, we sort of thought, oh, we're back in it, and everything's could be fine, and that'll teach those Aussies to give us a little bit of stick, or Monty Panesar a bit of stick. And then and actually, the papers in Australia were giving their team a battering after day one. By day two, it completely turned around.
It was interesting. I mean, there's normally a fallout between the English and the Aussies before it, but there was a little bit of a fallout between Ben Stokes and some former England legends. I think Jeff Boycott, he had a go at Ian Botham, just talking about some of their comments about they actually needed a bit more of a proper warm up, which is difficult given the there's so much cricket at the moment.
But they don't seem to want to play in that game next week, do they?
No, that's true. But I tell you what, if you are Cricket Australia, you're presumably going to be losing a lot of money. Because
day 3 is the big crowd, isn't it?
Exactly.
The crowd which thinks they're going to get a decisive day.
Yeah, and presumably they get their money back because you have to sort of bowl about sort of 20 overs on a day for actually to preclude any money back. So yeah, it's but what, 30,000 England fans, plus obviously a heavy percentage of them Barmy Army going out there and presumably rattling around on beaches for an extra 3 days.
Including our old friend Mark Austin, I noticed, who was
he's Mark
out there.
Mark loves his cricket.
He does love a bit of cricket. So red faces in the cricket and red faces in the football.
Yeah, talking of shell-shocked, I mean, it's just... where do you go with Liverpool? I mean, as you say, red faces, Sunday Mirror Sport, 6th defeat in 7 in the Premier League, and Virgil van Dijk, their captain, says it's a problem. And it's quite interesting getting into the sort of, the meat of his comments afterwards. We're in a very difficult moment. We don't get out of it by just speaking about it. Obviously, he's got to come out and talk. It will take a lot of hard work. It's a problem. And then I thought this quote particularly jumped out. Everyone in the team has to take responsibility as well. Obviously, as you say, the focus is on a slot, questions about him, questions about the recruitment strategy. But actually, when they bought a lot of these players, people were saying, well, they've strengthened. It's just...
Including you.
Absolutely, including me. I mean, you just looked at it, but it was the balance. I mean, they did need to address issues at left back and at right back. They obviously, they tragically lost Diogo Jota. They lost other players who Nunes and others who moved out. So they had to sort of strengthen in those positions. Ekitike is obviously the only one who's really come in and done well. Florian Wirtz, as anyone who's seen in Europe for the last sort of few years, is a fabulous player, but he is finding the physicality and the pace of the Premier League too much. And also, how do you fit him in? Can you fit him in as a 10, but then you disrupt that strong 3-man midfield, which was so good last season? Or do you just play him loosely off the left?
You're stealing all your own thunder as we wait to we'll discuss the Liverpool crisis in depth after the break, because we do need to have time to discuss the fact that the Mags won.
Yes.
And beat Manchester City and played pretty well. I mean, there was a lot of chances yesterday, and it was Newcastle back to their swaggering best, in my view.
Best they played this season?
Look, I haven't seen every game over 90 minutes, but given the quality of the opposition, you'd have to say, yes. To be honest, they played pretty well against Liverpool when they lost. Swaggering victory over Benfica, for instance, in the Champions League. But that was a strangely confident performance, given that we've been struggling a bit.
There were confident performances. Guimaraes, Tonali, your 2 young fullbacks. Lewis Hall, I mean, obviously he was going to fade a little bit, get a bit of cramp in the second half, but he was outstanding. First start since September first start since September. And obviously Livramento on the right as well. I thought they were outstanding all over. And the new Scotland treasure, Harvey
Do you think he'll
Barnes.
Do you think he'll switch to Scotland?
I mean, it must be tempting, but I do feel for some of those players who gave us one of the great highlights of the year, that last 15 minutes of that game against them.
Oh, yeah.
Just fantastic. And there will be one player in there who will get eased out of the 26.
Yeah, but come on, you want to strengthen. Harvey Barnes would strengthen that squad.
But could you weaken the camaraderie if you brought a player in?
Don't you want to go as far as you can?
Yeah, I get that.
As well as you can.
I get that. And look, he's only played a friendly for England, and he absolutely qualifies for Scotland. So that's no issue. Also, we English can't get high and mighty about this. I mean, 75% of the FA's age group England players are eligible for other countries.
And this is traditionally the time when Newcastle kick on, because last season we got beat at Brentford and then went on a great run. Looks like it could be the same again.
Why was Eddie Howe perceived to be under pressure? I found that extraordinary looking at it from the outside.
Just because I think of the fact we're owned by the Saudis, and the perception is they want results, although they've never publicly come out and said, we want this, we want that, we want the other. And of course, as we've discussed before, you can't spend the money the way you would like to. Yeah,
but you can't really judge him until Johan Wissa's there, and then you've got 10-9.
You asked me why the perception. That's why.
Yeah. But it's harsh. Eddie Howe's a fantastic manager.
It is. And now we're all right.
Yeah, congratulations. Welcome back.
Coming up next on Sunday Edition, we'll delve deeper into that crisis at Liverpool.
and everyone's buzzing, and then you lose against Man City and it kind of flattens it out again. You know, that can happen.
But at this moment of time, the only focus we have is winning games of football, which it was actually the same last season at this moment.
And how's this? It's Liverpool 0, Nottingham Forest 1, and it's Murillo who's got it.
This is not the Liverpool we're used to seeing, and you can understand why they're losing football matches. They look really shaky.
Would you believe it? It's Liverpool 0, Nottingham Forest 2.
Here's the thing for me with Liverpool, right? Even when they were winning, they were poor.
Let me give you this stat. This is Nottingham Forest's first clean sheet in 20 games. It's their first clean sheet since April the 1st.
Liverpool 0, Nottingham Forest 3, and it's Morgan Gibbs-White who's got it.
This would be Liverpool's joint heaviest Premier League defeat at Anfield.
When you're at big clubs, decisions are made. So I can understand that there is going to be pressure coming his way.
6 defeats in 7 for Liverpool.
Yeah, we have to accept that, and I take full responsibility.
Yeah, it's a bit of a mess at the moment. Liverpool falling to a 6th Premier League loss in the last 7 games after that 3-0 defeat against Forest. First time Liverpool have lost back-to-back games by a 3-goal margin, apparently, since April 1965 under Bill Shankly. Liverpool manager Arne Slot spoke to the media in his post-match press conference and took full responsibility for the defeat.
It's my responsibility. If we win or lose, it's my responsibility. So, but what I also see is that the team, and by the way, our fans as well, stayed till the end, supported the team till the end, and the players keep on trying till the end. And what I also see today, and that wasn't at City, but at City, we were not the only team that struggles in the first half. But in every other game we've played, we've been the dominant team, and we were able to create chances. And like I said, lately it's almost constantly that we miss our chances, and the ones go in that we concede. But that will never continue throughout the whole season.
Henry, we were listening in the package there. I think it was Jason Cundy making the point that even earlier in the season, when they were winning, they weren't playing particularly well. I referenced the Newcastle game, which I thought we were a bit unlucky to lose. And there's also a narrative that Liverpool weren't even that brilliant last season, and it was, Jurgen Klopp's side which Slot just about got over the line in the net the following season. Where do you stand on?
Well, first, I think that's a little bit harsh on Arne Slot last season. He was named Manager of the Year. He did tweak, obviously it's Klopp's players, but he did tweak it in terms of he tightened the defence, he sort of worked on that 3-man midfield, which was outstanding. But
he tore it up all up.
But yeah, but then you look at those players. So I've just had a look at the PFA Team of the Year for last season.
Mm-hmm.
6 of those started for Liverpool. Obviously, Isak and Kirkes came in from the outside, but Mo Salah, Virgil van Dijk, Ryan Gravenberch and Alexis McAllister were obviously already there, and a very sort of strong base. So these are not bad players, but it is the balance, it's the alchemy, it's the extra factors, whether it's still this grieving process over Diogo Jota, as Andy Robertson talked about so emotionally in midweek after the Scotland game, gave a sort of window on the sort of the human side to professional footballers and what they're going through. So I don't know how much of an element that is, but clearly it is playing a part. But it's tactical. It's also, I think. And this is where, look, Slot is a fantastic manager. He shouldn't be under pressure.
Well, is he? Is he a fantastic manager?
Yeah,
I mean,
voted manager of the year.
You do trot out these things periodically, Henry. Go, well, he's a fantastic manager. He's a fantastic coach. I mean, is he?
Oh, it's the difference between coach and a manager.
So he's not a great coach then?
Well, I don't know how much of the coaching he actually does and whether it's people around him, but he's got coaches there. Oh, come on, he is a good manager.
Oh, you said fantastic.
Well, he's a fantastic manager. Okay, so he's voted manager of the year.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think that is an issue. But I do think that there is an area of criticism. I thought the Liverpool finished with Ekitike and Gamora, Chiesa, Gakpo, and Salah on at the end, and that is who is creating for them, who is providing the platform for them. Is it just he seems to have lost that confidence? The changes he made last season, starting in the very first game when he took Kwanzaa off and put Kanate on. He was very decisive in his changes, and he got praised for this with the substitutions and his game management, as managers call it. But he seems to have lost that.
Why do you think he would play Isak over Ekitike? People, is it to give Isak? Well, he needs to get up to speed. Yeah, but he's completely out of form and not probably fully fit yet. And Ekitike is chomping at the bit and seems to be in pretty good shape.
I think Swedish fans and players might actually raise this issue as well. They have a player who hasn't had a pre-season through his own fault because he just stayed at home, and that wasn't particularly well handled, certainly by him. A lot of sympathy. We touched on what a good manager Eddie Howe is. I thought he handled that very difficult situation. But I think Liverpool are slightly playing the price of Isak, just not having that sort of intensity, that sharpness which players build up. I mean, you look at him. I was just reading Andy Dunn's piece in the Mirror, and he was saying he was at the match. He said that Isak had 5 touches in the first half hour. I mean, you would have watched a lot of
Erling Haaland does that sort of stuff sometimes.
Yeah,
I'm just saying it's the number of touches doesn't necessarily reflect whether you're a decent striker or not. If you're sticking the ball in the onion bag.
But the work that Haaland does out of possession, I mean, at one point yesterday, he was Manchester City's best defender. But in terms of pressing, he will always press, he will always run. He's a fantastic team player. Isak, when he was with you, he wasn't a great presser, was he? He wouldn't close down the full back. He was quiet. He just focused on scoring. He did his bit, but he didn't, not with the intensity that others do it. So, look, he's got to build that up. But, yeah, I mean, Ekitike should really be starting at the moment.
I mean, you keep throwing in Wirtz yesterday, who wasn't available yesterday, and you keep saying what a great player he is as well. But
I think he's a great player. He's a very good player. You throw around great far too much.
No, you tell me everybody's fantastic. But that is 2 massively expensive signings who've done nothing so far.
Yeah.
That's going to create problems, isn't it, when you've spent 200, nearly $250 million on them?
Florian Wirtz is clearly is partly tactical. His best position is probably in that sort of almost deeper, slightly deeper than a 10, but in it more central. But of course, Liverpool look best when they've got that Gravenberch, Szoboszlai. Szoboszlai going to right back. He's been fantastic for them. Fantastic, your favourite word in midfield.
Forest were fantastic, though, weren't they?
Yeah, we're going to talk about Forest. Yeah, talkSPORT. Shaun Dyche, as you do.
Yeah.
Well, look, he has done the obvious things which Ange Postecoglou didn't. When you've got players like Murillo and Milenkovic, don't play a high line with them. They look much better deeper. He's organised them. He's got the 2 wings. Actually, they look quite a good attacking team. Gibbs White has now been scoring. They're getting the ball to him. He looks more confident in the system as well. And they were totally deserving of that win yesterday.
I thought they played really, really well, yeah. And moving up the table, you were never concerned they were in relegation trouble then?
Forest, no, because, well, not when Shaun Dyche came in, and particularly when they got rid of Postecoglou. I remember tweeting, end of an era, because he wasn't suited. If you go into a club, don't talk about your old club. If you go into a relationship, don't talk about your ex. I mean, it's as simple as that. And he was talking about Spurs, and I understood he had the fantastic night Bilbao, and I get all that. But Forest are a proud 2-time winning European champion. Go in and talk about the quality of the players, how you can rebuild, which is what Ange Postecoglou should have done. But Shaun Dyche has gone in there. He's obviously got Stoney and Woney, as he calls them, and he got that emotional connection. And he comes out and talks about, he said, this is brilliant because I never got a chance to play.
No,
so wearing the tracksuit, and that is genuine. You know Shaun Dyche very well, and he is absolutely genuine. You can see that sparkle in his eyes, and they seem a club unified.
Yeah, indeed they do. So just finally, Liverpool in crisis or not?
Yeah.
Arne Slot's job on the line?
No, how can you say his job's on the line? He's got enough credit in the bank if we're throwing cliches at each other.
This is Sunday edition on talkSPORT, and next up we'll take a deeper dive into the rest of yesterday's Premier League action. It looks like Sunderland are out the title race.
It comes to Enzo Fernandez. Chelsea score a second and Chelsea go second in the Premier League.
Well, Callum Wilson is having a day to remember. It's Bournemouth 0, West Ham United 2, and Callum Wilson at the double against his former club.
Wolves 0, Crystal Palace 2. Absolute beauty of a finish from Yeremy Pino, his first Premier League goal.
It's fired in from the edge of the penalty area by Jack Hinchelwood from 1-0 down. They've turned it right around.
Ederson Al made no mistakes, so the comeback is almost complete. Well, it is complete. It's 2-2.
And it's finally the breakthrough for Fulham. Fulham 1, Sunderland 0. It's Raul Jimenez.
Oh my word! Newcastle 2, Man City 1. Well, we've had a first half of no goals, and Harvey Barnes has scored 2 in 3-4 minutes. Man City miss out on a chance to go second. It's finished at St James's Park. Newcastle 2, Manchester City 1.
Ah yes, how good does that sound? And how the Premier League sounded in general yesterday here on talkSPORT. And of course it kicked off with Chelsea winning at Burnley. A routine victory, yes, it was only Burnley. But are Chelsea, do you think, getting into a sort of rhythm? They're now 3 points behind Arsenal. Yes, they played a game more. But you get a sense maybe something could develop there?
They're getting into a rhythm without one of the country's best players in Cole Palmer.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, extraordinary.
Where are they going to put him? I know you're going to look at me. You've got to have him in the team. Yes, I get that. But
well, one of the things I like most about Chelsea under Maresca is their wingers. You know, I mean, I thought Jamie Giddens has been terrific when he's been. I think that was his 4th assist in his 7 starts for them. He's played 15 times for Chelsea. I've seen obviously with the under-21s, and I think there's a real talent there. And I think when he's got that confidence playing on the left, obviously they can bring in Garnacho, who stayed on the bench yesterday. Pedro Neto on the right was excellent, but I think that cross that Gittings played in just showed his ability. So look, it's nice to see a little bit of wing play, and obviously you've got Estevao to come off the bench as well on the right. So I mean, everyone's talking about the sort of different trends that are going on. It's all sort of set pieces and throw-ins and everything, and then you can actually see a little bit of old school wingery, which is nice. Anyway, so kudos to Chelsea for that. Where does Cole Palmer fit in? I don't know, because Enzo Fernandez, well, obviously he comes back in, but Enzo Fernandez has been playing as much a 10 as an 8. I mean, he's really
almost box to box.
He's box to box. He's crashing the box.
Declan Rice.
Yeah, or Frank Lampard. I mean, there's
but he really is, and he struggled a little bit when he first arrived, but he looks like the Chelsea leader now. I've done it all in. He's done it all in the game, and he's almost teaching his teammates how to do it.
He's got that personality. I thought Tosin at the back yesterday had that personality as well. But one thing I did notice, I know it's been creeping in, but every block that a defender makes now is celebrated as if they've scored. I mean, it's almost like they're going to run over to the defensive coach and sort of celebrate getting
Who started that? Where did it?
I'm sure it's been going for a while, but I thought it was particularly noticeable yesterday that, hey, look, I've just done my job. I've just sort of blocked a shot or made a tackle, or so. But yeah, look, they were excellent.
Yeah, and interesting, the goalkeeper's not getting any criticism anymore, isn't it? And he's stuck with him, and he's doing okay. Although that was a bit dodgy, that handball in the box. Did you see it at the start? Where he passed it. I can't remember who he passed it to now, Sanchez, but put the hand on it early on. Yeah, and also, when he actually started the move with Gusto for the second goal, Enzo Fernandez's goal, I mean, that was just pretty calm and confident to play the ball like that to Gusto, and then Neto took it on, and it was a great finish from Enzo. But yeah, I mean, I always thought that might be their Achilles heel in goal, but actually he's been good this season. He's been okay. We didn't really mention Man City, as I was eulogising and you were eulogising about Newcastle, but Pep had given it the season starts here. We can kick on, we can push for the title, etc. And then they got their comeuppance. Foden could have had a penalty. I mean, that was something they made. They rightly highlighted on Match of the Day last night. It was it's always a grey area, that though, isn't it? When you get shot away and then somebody fouls you. Yeah, but just talking of, you think it was a penalty yourself? Yeah, absolutely. I disagree, but anyway. Did you? No, it had to be. But look, you were absolutely worthy winners. I mean, the work rate all over. I mean, so I love Voltemada because, okay, he's a 10 online, but he's trying to do two jobs. He could have had a hat trick because Donnarumma was outstanding, particularly in the first half. But just his work off the ball as well. I mean, he's had a busy summer with the under-21s. He's now playing for the senior team. He's made this move pretty seamlessly. And it's going to be interesting if Vissa comes in, who do they drop a midfielder, and who drops out? You sacrifice a wide man and go tighter. I know it's
really
difficult. Well, no, I'm just saying. I know the wing play is what we're basing, relatively speaking, success on at the moment. Although Ryan says Eddie Howe has spent over $500 million at Newcastle, and he has them in the bottom half of the table. God, why do you two find it so hard to criticise English managers? Says Ryan.
I think we've just criticised Arne Slot. I mean,
no, English criticise it. He's not English. Yeah. Why do you find it so hard to criticise English managers?
No, but that's the point. Is that we do. It's nothing to do with your passport. It's to do with your ability. And managers, if they deserve criticism, absolutely get it. I just don't think some of the criticism that was thrown at Eddie Howe was, given that he didn't have Vissa, given there were, he lost players like Elliot Anderson for PSR reasons. I think he's actually juggled that team and the resources pretty well.
What would your concern be about City?
I can't work it out with City because, before the international break, you thought, right, City are back in gear. They're going to push for the title. They've got a brilliant goalkeeper. They've got, obviously, a superstar striker with a great work ethic in Erling Haaland. Seem to have strengthened in midfield, possibly need Rodri back, but Gonzalez has obviously played well in there. Nico O'Reilly, is he going to be England's left back? There were 3 left backs on view yesterday in Livramento, Lewis Hall. It's great to see Lewis Hall back as well. Actually a left footer, not an inverted fullback, who was excellent for the hour or so he was on the pitch. But yeah, I can't work out Manchester City. There's obviously something slightly missing there, and it was like you could almost, that was embodied by Ruben Dias's sort of shaking them up after getting the equaliser and saying, "Come on, let's kick on now." But look,
I just wonder if they're caught between keeping possession or trying to get the ball forward quickly, and a bit of indecision there, which way it should be.
But the best teams can mix it up.
Well, indeed.
And Manchester City have done. I mean, Ederson would play those long balls through to Haaland, as well as your beloved tiki-taka.
Not one of the best teams is Wolves. Rob Edwards back there looked just the same. I realise he hasn't had very long to make an impression, but you're up against the Crystal Palace side, which impresses all the time. With Mark Gahey at the back, who is heavily tipped for a move to Liverpool, possibly in January.
I mean, I think people pointed this out at the time, that if you were going to try and get Mark Gahey, and they did need strengthening at the back, doubts over Konaté's future, Jarell Kwanzaa having left Liverpool, that they should have moved for Mark Gahey early in the transfer window, because then that would have given Crystal Palace, and Parish came in and spoke about it here, didn't he? And that Oliver Glasner said he would only countenance Mark Gahey going. And didn't he actually went and didn't he do the sort of the announcement video, and he'd had the medical, he was all ready to move if they'd done that sort of 2-3 weeks earlier. So I think Liverpool's recruitment side is slightly culpable on that.
Well done at Palace, though. 4th in the table.
Brilliant.
Still looking very, very good. There was a bit of a campaign to get Danny Welbeck in the England squad.
Was there?
Which came, well,
By
there was
you?
a bit of discussion.
For 34-year-old?
Bit of discussion, and he is possibly the person who looks most in form as an orthodox striker as backup to Kane, frankly. Finish again yesterday was tremendous. Is there any chance of him getting
I would be
or is that gone?
Surprised.
You'd still rather have, say, Ivan Toney, maybe?
No. I think
it
no, I'd like to see Ollie Watkins regain his sort of aptitude and goal-scoring touch. No, he's not. But I think that if you have, I think Marcus Rashford will be effectively the third one. Look, clearly they're hoping for Liam Delap to train on, but he is very young. But it's absolutely key that Harry Kane stays fit, because if you're looking further into the future, is Kane going to be around for a World Cup when he's sort of 36? Not as a 9. So it's absolutely key that England, there's so much weighted on this World Cup that England get everything right. And that ties into the Jude Bellingham debate, that ties into Harry Kane staying fit, that ties into winter break and fatigue. And this World Cup is just so important, because who is Kane's long-term successor?
I don't know.
So how are England in the fair and future World Cup? That is why next year is so important.
Couple of quick ones then. West Ham let the 2-0 lead slip at half-time. Just when you think, hey, Nuno's getting it, it's just starting to get right there at West Ham. Bournemouth got back in it. Bit of criticism of Nuno trying to hold what he'd got.
Yeah, I mean, he hasn't got the sort of the deepest of squads. Where are you on Callum Wilson and celebrations? And he didn't really celebrate, did he? Against his old team.
I know it was against his old team.
You don't like that, do you?
No, I think you should just celebrate. I mean,
ram it down their throats. That's
your 2 clubs back, isn't it? I mean, really, come on. I mean, I think he should do, really. He was also talking about wanting to get in the England squad as well, wasn't he? Last week he was suggesting, it's possible for him, because everybody sees who's a striker that there is a bit of an opening there, a vacancy to be Kane.
Who would you take
to be Kane's deputy? I think Welbeck's making a great case. Genuinely, I do.
Yeah. And also because he is the good tourist.
And he's now fit. Well, I'm not, but you go on about that. I'm not so fussed about that.
I'm saying the FA and England go on about
He's also on a run where he's actually fit.
Yeah,
which he hasn't been able to do. And when he is fit, he looks very, very good. And I also get into trouble if I don't mention Sunderland every week, so I will mention them. They are Sunderland. They lost at Fulham.
And they're out the title race?
They're out the title race. It wasn't a very inspiring game, I've got to say.
Who's going to finish higher at Newcastle?
Look, if I say it, it'll get replayed many times, but I think we will. I think Newcastle will finish above Sunderland, but I can't deny that they've done brilliant.
And you have a certain northeast pride in seeing Sunderland do well?
I don't mind them being in the Premier League, as I keep saying. The derby's coming up. I'm going to have to... We've got that to worry about. I think it's December 14.
Are you worried about that?
Corner. I think they're playing... I still think they're quite good, especially if I have to face them at... I think it's at their place.
You look a bit nervous,
it is at
actually.
their place.
Are you nervous about it?
Slightly.
Right, interesting. Sleepless nights?
No, not yet. Anyway,
yet.
This is Sunday Edition on talkSPORT. And coming next, the rise and rise of Scott McTominay. This is Sunday Edition on talkSPORT with Shaun, Custis and Henry Winter, but we have incredible news coming through from Las Vegas where the F1 Grand Prix has been staged. Hugo Chambra is going to tell us all about it.
Yeah, this was expected to come now. After Max Verstappen won the Grand Prix out in Las Vegas, both McLarens have now been disqualified because they failed post-race checks relating to plank wear. So this means that Norris's lead at the top of the Drivers' Championship will be cut to just 24 points. Max Verstappen has really had the bit between his teeth towards the end of this F1 season, and this is terrible news from a McLaren point of view. But with just 2 races left, 2 Grand Prix left, that is, we now have a incredibly close title race. Lewis Hamilton was disqualified for the same thing at the Chinese Grand Prix earlier on this season. So as soon as we heard that the McLaren cars were being investigated for this issue, it was expected that this would be the result. But yeah, still shocking news coming out of Las Vegas.
Yeah, absolutely disastrous news for Lando Norris, and certainly makes the last 2 Grand Prix a bit lively when it looks like he was going through to the title, and he finished second today, but it was seen as a bit of a boost, wasn't it?
Yeah, it absolutely was. And as I say, Max Verstappen, not someone you want to have in your rearview mirror chasing you down. He's in astonishing form. He is in the Red Bull car. And yeah, 24 points now at the top of that driver's standings. We will see if it's a deficit that Max Verstappen can overcome.
Thank you, Hugo. You'll have more on that later on in our news bulletins. Now then, we're going to feature Scott McTominay now. Scott McTominay, who was a bit of a Scotland hero during the week. I say a bit, he was Scotland. He was a Scotland hero. Incredible bicycle kick against Denmark.
And it wasn't even the greatest goal of the night.
What, the 50-yard lob? He helped Scotland reach their first World Cup since 1998. This came off the back of the fact he was Serie A's most valuable player last season, scoring 12 goals as Napoli won the league. And, of course, he ended up in Napoli because he was sold by Manchester United. Couldn't they do with them now, I think. Now then, man joining us is Charlie Jackson, who's head coach of Matrix Soccer Academy, and he was Scott McTominay's first coach. Charlie, good morning.
Good morning.
Hi, Charlie.
Charlie.
Hi, Henry.
Please tell us all about it. You signed Scott McTominay for Man United when he was 4. Is that right?
Yeah, well, you can't sign till you're 9. He was picked up by Manchester United with a great scout with Steve Dawn back in the day, and he trained for us for several years under the Manchester United ban until he could sign at 9.
He came in at 4 years old. You say you can't sign them, but what happens when they're that age? Do they just come along and say, hello, the parents come along, hello, he's quite a good footballer, he's 4, and you go, OK, we'll have a look at him?
Yeah, he's scouted, yeah. So he played for a local team in Lancaster called Holton Hotshots back in the day, and he was scouted in a training session by Steve Dawn, and he came to the development centre where we worked at Manchester United at the time. And he spent several years with us until he was old enough to sign.
And what did you make of him when you saw him when he was 4?
Wow. He was only a little guy.
Yes, he was.
Very, very small. I know. Very, very small, but an incredible heart for such a small boy. Tenacious, picked up things incredibly well. I mean, so smart. He'd stay for extra sessions, for extra time at the end. He was first in, last out, and that was week in, week out. But just unbelievable to train. Just a model young little footballer, to be honest.
Charlie, I've long followed the Matrix because I know the work that you do and the players that you've helped. And it looks like that very much you focus around what you call the 6 A's of attitude, ability, awareness, agility, attack, achieve. Where did Scott score most on those, or was it just across the board?
I think it was across the board, Henry. I think when you look at Scott as a young, I mean, a 4-year-old, it seems ridiculous, doesn't it? But as a 4-year-old, his attitude to learn was just boundless. There was no, you had to put the reins on him because he was training almost like a 9-year-old at 4. So you sort of know, and it's really hard. It's like having a crystal ball, and it's really difficult to predict, I guess. But you knew with Scott, he was just special. Great parents, both Frank and Juliet, awesome parents. Very honest. didn't expect anything. If you're looking at model parents to bring up a young footballer, they were the parents. It was just amazing, really.
You must be so proud to see what he's doing now, Charlie. But, I mean, when Mourinho was in charge of Man United, he sort of had quite an influence in bringing him through, telling us how good he was, said he wished he could have him at centre-back and in midfield, and yet Man United let him go.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of it was him at Manchester United. Scott was Manchester United through and through, and probably still is at heart. He just lived for the badge. I think in my personal opinion, I think he was played in various positions and not really given a chance at that length of time in them positions. I always said when he first signed at the club at 9, you've got to play him in different positions. He's such a variable boy in terms of what he has, talent-wise. Seeing him now and where he's at now, could you have predicted that? I think we probably could, if we're being honest. I think there was quite a few scouts and coaches at the club actually knew how good he was, but obviously the size thing was a big thing at the early stages because he was only small. And to be fair, they give him time to grow, and the positions he played in were variable. But I think it's made him the player he is today, to be honest.
Charlie, was England ever an option?
I hope not. I'm Scottish as well by blood, so I hope that was never going to be an option.
This is because he was born in Lancaster.
I mean, his dad had numerous conversations about this, joking aside, about him. If he ever picked England, would we disown him and all that sort of stuff? But it was funny because obviously he plays with the badge on his heart. So I don't think that would ever be doubted now that he's Scottish through and through.
We mentioned you run what's called the Matrix Soccer Academy, Charlie. Have you got like a stream of McTominays coming through now?
We've got good players coming through. I mean, I worked with Adam Wharton for several years. Christian Montgomery's at Blackburn. Harry Leonard is at Peterborough. They all worked as part of what we did at school. I work at a school, West Home in Blackburn, and Dale Futures, and we were just looking to bring in talent to bring through and through to see the next Scott or the next Adam coming through. And I think when you see the players that I've got about, 65, 70 children. They don't come to be signed, they come to develop, and they see these players, and it's great to see they sort of don't get carried away by it, because I've told them the stories. I've told them that the laid-back attitude of all the players, that it's a start at 9, but it's a long, long road ahead. And it's just really keep your head down, stay focused, and see where you go in with things, really.
Did you work with Jedi, Anthony Robinson, as well?
I did. Very early stages. His dad, Tony's a very, very good friend of mine. Anthony, I worked with Anthony for a couple of years. Very good footballer. Very, very good. Very intelligent, articulate, smart. Like I say, his dad's brilliant. His dad just sort of... Tony himself had a string of players coming through back in the day, which went on and did very, very well. But yeah, what a player he is, by the way. Yeah, incredible.
Charlie Jackson, Super Scout. Wish you all the best with all the talent you've got coming through. You clearly know how to pick them. Charlie Jackson, head coach of Matrix Soccer Academy, and Scott McTominay's first coach. Coming up next, England was soundly beaten in Perth. We'll ask if their Ashes campaign could be over already.
Formula One. It's a sport often seen as insular and elitist, but it's seen a meteoric rise under its owners Liberty Media, not only in popularity and viewership, but in the ability to almost print money. From greater access to more races, here's how it happened. For decades, Formula One was owned and run by one man, Bernie Ecclestone. He was old school, someone who thought the sport itself was enough, and there was no need for all this modern marketing and social media nonsense. But in 2016, Ecclestone agreed to sell his baby to American group Liberty Media. It cost Liberty Media $4.4 billion, and they quickly got to work. We got an F1 app almost immediately, and teams were allowed to show us more from behind the scenes. One of Liberty's most important deals was with Netflix, which in 2019 brought us Drive to Survive. The effect? An almost 70% rise in viewership for races in the US alone. It's massively benefited Formula One online too, with a rise from 7.8 million followers across its social media platforms in 2016 to around 50 million today. New eyes are on the sport too, with F1's own subscription TV channel, which people can watch anywhere in the world. But the main market they've tapped into is the US. There's now 3 races there a year, in Texas, Miami and Las Vegas, and an American-branded team, Cadillac, getting involved in the sport too. More races seems to be the direction of travel. A street circuit in Madrid's being welcomed onto the calendar, while conversations around a Grand Prix in Africa have ramped up in the last few years. More big events could be in the offing too, after the massive F1 75 season launch event in London in 2025. 7.5 million people tuned in to watch it live across the social media channels, and that doesn't include the viewing figures for where it was broadcast on TV in certain countries. It seems Liberty will do whatever they can to grow the F1 brand. Their efforts have been worthwhile too, with Forbes valuing the sport at $17.1 billion back in 2023, almost 4 times more than what they bought it for in 2016. Not bad, considering it's seen as a sport where people just drive around in circles.
You're listening to Sunday Edition on talkSPORT, where we've got plenty to discuss over the next hour. We'll ask what the new FFP regulations mean for the Premier League, and also if Leicester City should expect a heavy points penalty in the near future. Of course, we'll discuss the North London derby, with Spurs looking to be top of the table Arsenal at the Emirates for the first time in 15 years. But first, it was an awful start for England, down under.
Australia have sealed one of the most punishing and embarrassing defeats for England in recent times.
This was England's chance to set down a marker, to lose in a test match. I mean, it's mind-boggling.
We're trying to work out where do England go from here, because yes, they play this riveting style of cricket, but if it can unravel from even that position of strength, then what lies ahead?
We don't know how to close out games unless we go and win by 350 runs.
All of this after England were in pole position to win this test at lunch, and England have lost in Perth inside 2 days. Australia win by 8 wickets.
Yeah, England crushed in that first Ashes test as Travis Head's blistering century completed an astonishing Australian fight back in Perth, and here to rub it in is Daniel Cherney, chief cricket writer at talkSPORT. Basically, he works for the Aussies. Daniel, good morning.
Hi, Shaun. Henry, good to be with you.
Hi, Daniel.
Very good to be with you, Daniel. What did you make of it all? I mean, after day one, the Aussie press were getting stuck into their team. By day two, they're heroes.
Apologies, first of all, it's a bit of a bumpy ride. I'm just on my way back from a tour match here in Perth watching the England Lions. But no, look, it was a real debacle for England in the end. They were in, as it was touched on that audio package that you played, they were in pole position. They were in a great spot in the game. And it's emblematic of, I think, Bazball and the way that they don't take full advantage. They get in these positions in games and they blow it all too consistently. I mean, I think, it's not to say it's been an abject failure. I mean, England's had plenty of great successes over the last few years, but not consistently enough to win major series consistently. And this was just another prime example of it, particularly just some of the shot selection. Is 105 in front with 9 wickets in hand, and it's the cardinal rule of batting in Perth. You don't drive on the up, and all these guys kept doing it at the top order, threw away their wickets, gave Australia an opening, and I think the biggest thing is they didn't give the chance for their array of quicks, who we saw was so damaging in the first innings, to get adequate rest, and the pace was down for pretty much all of them. And in the end, it was all too easy for Australia, and from a very difficult position, they won by 8 wickets, as you touched on, inside 2 days.
Yeah, and it looks like Australia Bazballed England at their own game, with Travis Head, who usually batting at 5, as we mentioned, for Australia, but he opened in the 4th innings and really took it to England with a very attacking style. And his captain, Steve Smith, explained the decision after the match.
Oh, I mean, it's got to be right up there. Wow, that was incredible to witness. We came off at the tea break, and we were umming and ahhing who to put up top, and Heady was like, I'll do it, I should do it. And I was like, go for it. We didn't like how things functioned in the first innings with Marn going up top and me batting 3 and what have you. So, yeah, Trav took it on and played one of the great Ashes knocks.
Daniel, it's really interesting listening to Travis Head being interviewed after the game yesterday, and he was very relaxed. He was standing there, just sort of, almost sort of twirling a stump like a cheerleader, and he was very relaxed and he spoke really well. Could he be the next Australian captain?
Potentially. I mean, it's interesting. For a while there, he looked like he was the heir apparent to Pat Cummins. He is one of the 2 vice captains with Steve Smith in the Test side. But he seems to not particularly jump at the proposition, and he's pretty much the same age as Pat Cummins. So I'm not quite sure whether there'll be an opening for him to do so, because if Cummins continues to be captain for several more years, I know bowlers tend to break down, or batsmen tend to go on longer than bowlers, but I'm not necessarily sure whether the stars will align. But look, he could do it. He has captained Australia in white ball cricket briefly. He was actually anointed as a future captain of the Australian team a long time ago. He was given the South Australian leadership at a very young age. He might have been 20 or 21. He was one of the youngest captains in domestic cricket history here in Australia. So he has done a fair bit of it. And look, he's a very laid sort of guy. It's his appeal, I think, to the broader Australian public. He's a very popular guy. There were some of the scenes after Australia won the 50-over World Cup back in 2023 of him celebrated with more than a few drinks, and he has the moustache. It's a bit of a throwback to David Boone. So, yeah, you can certainly see it happening, but I'm just not sure whether the timing will align.
Daniel, I'm sure many, many Australians are rightly celebrating this, but for Cricket Australia, does it cause financial issues if a test is only lasting for 2 days?
Yes, it does. And I mean, it's taking a bit of a short tube. And, they would argue that a match like yesterday will inspire future generations and will have a stand long-lasting effect. In the short term, when we're
I think we're losing Daniel there, which is a shame. He was just getting into his stride there, wasn't he? Quite enjoying.
Not the worst thing for two English sports journalists to have an Australian sports journalist cut off in his prime after an Ashes thumping.
Ben Stokes was asked after the game about the fact they've got another game coming up in Canberra prior to the second test, and he was asked by the BBC if the manner of the loss meant that they should throw some first-team players into that, and he replied, "I've been asked this question a lot. No. We've operated in this way where we know the preparation we put in is correct and works for us. We trust in our process. If the results don't go in our favour, that's not going to differ." That sounds pretty stubborn to me.
Yeah, and I think if the process clearly hasn't worked in this case.
Well, but where do you, Daniel, are you with us again? No, he's not. Anyway.
Yes, I think I've got you.
Go on, Daniel. I was talking about the fact England aren't going to send any of the players for a preparation game next week ahead of the second test. Do you think that's wise?
To me, I don't get it. I think, particularly after a 2-day test, it's not as though they're going to be, exhausted from a long and draining test match. They played for 2 days. There's a 12-day break between the tests now. Send them off for a couple of days, and I think if you've seen one thing from the tour match they had at Lilac Hill in Perth last week, is that they didn't adapt to the bounce in Perth this week. And the next test is the pink ball test in Brisbane. England doesn't play much pink ball cricket at all. So why not send a stronger outfit to Canberra to play the Prime Minister's 11, get a look at a pink ball match, which may hold you, even if it's a 1%, 2%, 5% improvement. The marginal gains could be significant if you have a look at a pink ball. No, I don't get it at all, not playing this match.
No, obviously in England we're a bit crestfallen, even though after day one we thought, oh, hey, we might be able to rub the Aussies' noses in it here. Tell us generally how the Aussie press were feeling about that team after day one, and now how they're feeling about them after day two.
About the Australian team?
Mm-hmm.
Well, look, it's the type of match where there was extreme volatility in terms of perceptions at both levels, across the game, because of the nature of how it panned out, and it was just all manner of swings. Look, I think at the end of day one, I think there were significant questions about Australia's batting, and not to say they don't remain, because at the end of the day, they won on the back of really one guy. Marnus Labuschagne did very well with his 50 in the second innings, and that's a really positive step for Australia. But there are still some concerns about how they will go consistently against this extreme pace attack that England have. But by the same token, when Australia holds the Ashes already and you're 1-0 up, and this was supposedly the match in which England had its best chance, Australia went in without Cummins and Hazelwood, had a sort of shambles of Usman Khawaja not being able to open the batting in either innings, but in particularly the way that played out in the first innings, and Smith and Labuschagne, after all this build-up about them not opening, they're both batting inside the first over, and then England still can't get it done. I think ultimately Australians are feeling pretty positive about the team now, and that is fickle because 24 hours earlier it was a different story. But it's a long way back from 1-0 down in an Ashes series away from home.
Daniel, you're being incredibly sort of balanced and almost sort of kind to the English. Is there any crowing going on around you?
Some are more parochial than others. I like to try to be reasonably balanced, but look, I think it's the pantomime of the Ashes. People love it. There is, I think, look, pommy bashing is a bit of a sport around here, as you would well know, and I think in particular with Bazball, just given some of the remarks and the saving cricket and moral victories and all that, and the emotion and sort of I suppose eye rolling that stemmed from various utterances over the years. But some of the tabloids, particularly the local one here in Perth, has been the West Australian. You've probably seen some of the headlines and the front pages have gone around over the last week or so. A fair bit of crowing around. I think there was I can't remember the exact wording, but there was a pretty inflammatory one in the West Australian today. So yeah, a bit of that around.
Daniel Cherney, Chief Cricket Writer at talkSPORT. Thanks very much, and thanks for not gloating too much, Daniel, even though you had every right.
No worries. Sorry for the technical issues.
Yeah, a few technical issues, but he is sat in the back of a car in Australia, so perhaps we shouldn't be surprised.
To be fair, England had even more technical issues.
Certainly did. But do you think they can recover?
Oh, well, I hope so. I mean, it was interesting hearing Daniel there. He was very measured, and he was just saying, there were issues with the Australian team, but he did point out they've got Cummins and Hazelwood to come back.
To come, indeed.
Nice.
And a reminder to make sure you subscribed to the talkSPORT Cricket YouTube channel for exclusive interviews, including the Ashes Inquest podcast with John Norman and Steve Harmison. New episodes come out at 10:30 every morning following a day at the Test. You can also listen on talkSPORT 2. Coming up next, it's best of the best. Who would you put in your best Arsenal Spurs combined 11? This is Sunday Edition with Shaun, Custis and Henry Winter. We're with you until 11 o'clock, and now it's time for this.
One of the greatest tries ever scored, but she won't get there. Kaylee Hodgkinson is the Olympic champion.
I'm going to float like a butterfly and sting like a bee.
Oh, Stephen Harmison, one of the great balls.
Double 12! Oh, my word!
Best of the best on Sunday edition.
I think I'm a special one.
I think he's done it! Yes! You beauty!
Let's be having you!
On talkSPORT.
Yes, this is Best of the Best, and this morning we're focusing on the North London derby.
Molly how done, and he's crossed for Bergkamp. Brilliant play from the Dutchman. Wonderful goal!
It was Bale. Oh, and he's a specialist. What about that? He curls this down past Almunia, and Spurs are in front.
A moment of absolute magic from Harry Kane from the left flank, collecting the ball and just drifting inside onto the right foot. We accused him of shooting from tight angles earlier, but this one is superb.
There was just no stopping him. Trust Thierry Henry to have a say on Derby Day in North London.
Yeah, so this one feels like we need about 8 hours to do it. We've got about 8 minutes, so me and Henry thought we'd put together our Arsenal Spurs combined 11, best one, not really of all time, because we have to have seen the players play. So your Blanchflowers and your Mackays are out. It's got to be players we've seen play, who would be in the combined Arsenal and Spurs 11, and off you go, Henry. Goal.
I've gone from 1985 onwards, because that was when I started writing about this great sport. Pat Jennings.
Simple, it's safe, that one, isn't it?
Yeah, 571 games for Spurs, 168 clean sheets. 85, 86. He went back to Spurs. I think he had
He was at the World Cup.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so I think that's a legitimate one. David Seaman, respectful nod in his direction, but Pat Jennings for me in goal. You can do the defence.
Absolutely. Back four is pretty tricky, because you've got to pay homage to the famous back four, which was sort of a back five. Because they swapped around with Bold and Keown and all that, didn't they? But if you look over time, I
went individually. I didn't go collective.
No, I didn't put them all together. But actually, I thought right back was the hardest one, because I've gone Dixon, Adams, Gabriel, Cole.
Really?
Yeah. Go on.
Steve Perriman, right back.
Yeah.
777 appearances, 2 UEFA Cups. Respectful nod to Pat Rice, obviously slightly before or around that. Tony Adams. Gabriel, fantastic. But Sol Campbell, I know that.
I know. I've got him on the bench. Campbell's made the bench.
Really? Whose bench though? The collective bench.
Yeah, very funny.
And then I had Ashley Cole at left back. Cyril Knowles, fantastic. Kenny Sampson, fantastic. But Ashley Cole, for me, of that, the fabled England golden generation, England's most consistent player, 100 caps on. But for Arsenal, absolutely.
And Kenny Sampson, of course, doesn't get in there.
No.
He was considered one of the great defenders.
Yeah.
Really was considered one of the great defenders. I do think maybe once Gabriel's been around for 2 or 3 seasons, he'll probably squeeze in there alongside Adams.
It's interesting. Obviously, he's going to be missed defensively today, but also, as everyone knows, he's going to be missed in the North London derby today because of the threat he is at set pieces. Because if Declan Rice or Bukayo Saka are pinning those balls to him, he is just places it on and he caused chaos there. So, they will miss him today.
Right, we've gone for 4-3-3 on this one. So the three in midfield, I've gone Vieira, Rice, Hoddle.
Right, you've gone quite
I'm
current as well.
Modern as well.
Yeah, definitely Patrick Vieira, outstanding. What a leader. He was prepared to take Roy Keane on in the tunnel, let alone on the pitch. So absolutely Vieira.
I once had an altercation with him myself and certainly didn't come off very well.
Patrick?
Just told me off.
Really?
No.
Rightly so, presumably?
Oh, yeah, definitely put me
in my place. What
did you
done?
It was over a story I'd written. And he gave me a dressing down. In fact, I got summoned to see him, give him a dressing down, and never crossed him again.
But did you
I've been to him since.
But did you get a story out of him? I always think when you do get a rollicking off someone, you can always
get rollicking.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Really? Okay, nice. Glenn Hoddle, definitely. Spurs, 435 games, 96 goals, 52 assists, UEFA Cup. I had Gaza in there.
Well, this is a big question. I've got Gaza on the bench.
It's
a heck of a big bench.
Are you going to tell him that?
And he sat on that bench alongside Liam Brady.
Oh, Chippy, what a player he was.
Who you couldn't get in your... It depends what you could play him behind the front two, I suppose.
Yeah, so you had Declan Rice in there. That's yeah.
Well, is there an argument?
I think he's fantastic. I think people talk about who is Arsenal's most important player at the moment, and they talk about Gabriel and Bukayo Saka. I think it's Declan Rice.
Has he got to do a few more years for you as well?
I think there's an element of longevity and trophies, arguably. But yeah, he's a fabulous player.
We haven't got, I suppose...
Gareth Bale? Where have you got him?
Well, now he's on the bench. He's sat next to Gascoigne and Brady.
Wow, that is quite a bench.
I know. And Saka. Saka sat there. It's quite a fall. And Waddle. I put Waddler's on the bench as well.
Yeah, he can play for the press team, which he always used to do very elegantly.
Weirdly, he always used to do that.
And who's your front three?
Front three. Henry.
Yep.
Kane.
Yep.
Bergkamp.
Brilliant. Yeah.
Yeah?
Absolutely.
Yeah, no dispute about it. But as I say, this team's going to struggle for width, isn't it? I'm not sure. Are we going to have to make Henry drift out to the left where he starts?
Ashley Cole, all action down the left. Perryman.
That's a lot to cover.
Yeah, but Ashley can do it.
Perryman, I've got to be honest, I've only got vague memories of Perryman playing. Why? What made you put him in ahead?
Longevity.
But would you agree that in defence we're a bit short on that side?
We are. I mean, Dixon, I think you would. Did you have Dixon?
I did have Dixon in because he was part of the Invincibles, and he epitomised what Arsenal were about in defence. He almost, to me, sometimes seemed like the leader of that back four. I know it seems strange with Adams in it, but he was quite a cheerleader at the back.
Yeah, he was. Well, I mean, that's why he's such a good pundit, because he read the game, he's a good communicator. I mean, I think that when Wenger came in, he almost added a couple of years on to Dixon's career, and it just, absolutely. I think he got back in the England squad, didn't he? Eventually, after a little bit of time out. But we've got no Ian Wright.
I know, he's on the bench. We've got, we can still put 9 on the bench, can't we? On this new era,
it's more like a chaise longue than a bench.
It's a heck of a bench, isn't it? I've got Waddle, Campbell, Sanson, Saka, Brady.
We didn't even have Gary Mabbott in.
No, I did think about Gary Mabbott. Would he have been alongside Adams for you?
Yeah, I mean, I had Sol Campbell in there because I just thought he was, actually, if you can say this about somebody who played in 6 tournaments for England, still slightly underrated. I thought he was a magnificent footballer. I understand all the sort of tension.
Goals that were disallowed will always hold.
Well, I know. That was 98, wasn't it? The header supposedly pushed by Shearer.
Was there another one as well? Was it 2004?
Yeah, well, I mean, Hoddle, if you talk to him now, he still talks about that goal being ruled out. Anyway.
And it shouldn't have been.
Shouldn't have been. No, well.
But yes, he was a fantastic defender as well. But as I say, I've got some bench. Naturally, if the bench played against the team we've selected, I'm not sure who would win, to be fair.
I was at the Telegraph when Alan Smith, the great Alan Smith, former Arsenal striker, was asked to do his North London 11 of current players at that time in 2013. He had only 3 Arsenal players in it. I can remember the reaction. I mean, it was absolutely fair. And, he was very balanced as a former Arsenal player. He had only 3 players. I remember being in the office and just the reaction was huge. But that's the derby for you.
But I'd love to get Saka into this side somehow, but you'd have to change the formation, I think. But then who'd you drop? I don't know.
Well, your manager, you're going to bring some early.
But you don't like the fact I'm bringing in more modern players.
I just think there's an element of longevity. But look, absolutely, Rice and Saka and Gabriel.
Indeed. I'm sure you've all got your own opinions on that. And
send them to Shaun.
Yeah, absolutely. We weren't far off. Agreed.
No, it was good.
To be fair. You're listening to the Sunday edition. What do the new financial rules mean for your club? We'll talk football finance with Kieran Maguire next. Okay, thanks to our friends at Virgin Hotels Las Vegas, we're giving you and a friend the chance to win the ultimate trip of a lifetime to Las Vegas. Picture this, you and your best mate flying upper class from London to Vegas, checking into a luxury spa villa for 4 incredible nights at Virgin Hotels Las Vegas, cheering from the stands as the Las Vegas Raiders take on the Kansas City Chiefs. And to top it all off, £5,000 in cash to play with. So clear your calendar from January 2nd to January 7th, 2026, because nothing starts a new year like Vegas. Good luck.
21 plus, UK excluding Northern Ireland. For a chance to win, text WIN to 83338. Text at £2 plus standard network rates. Bill payer's permission required. Or call 03434239761. Calls are charged at standard rate. All entries must be received by the 28th of November at 4 p.m. This is a network promotion. Run across talkSPORT, Virgin Radio UK and Talk. Full terms and conditions at talksport.com.
Now then, there's some new rules come out about profit and sustainability, and it has an effect on your club. Kieran Maguire, football finance expert and author of The Price of Football, is going to tell us what the rules are and how they do affect your club. Kieran, good morning.
Morning, guys. Great show as always.
Thank you very much, Kieran. Now, one of the headline items from these new PSR rules is that you can't sell a hotel to yourself, which we all thought was a bit of a disgrace anyway. That's now out, isn't it?
That's right. There was the opportunity under the old rules to prohibit related party transactions of hotels, car parks, women's teams, but the Premier League decided to allow that. So I think coinciding with the introduction of the new rules, they've decided to tighten things up. And this now means that the Premier League is in line with UEFA, because you weren't allowed to do that under the UEFA rules, which was why Chelsea and Villa ended up with sanctions from UEFA over the course of this season, and they've had to work a little bit harder in the transfer market to match things in terms of players in and out. So yeah, I think everybody welcomes that. It was an opportunity for the creative accountants to have a field day in terms of what you could and couldn't sell to yourself, but it's clearly it's nothing to do with football, so there's a very good case for excluding it.
I think we all thought that it was quite ludicrous that you could do that sort of thing and also sell women's teams to yourself. I mean, deep down, I think all the clubs knew it was a nonsense, didn't they?
Yes, I think the reason why it wasn't prohibited earlier was that Chelsea didn't break the rules, and therefore there was a case of saying, I think for some other clubs, it looks as if Villa and Everton may have replicated the Chelsea approach, it's a get out of jail free card. If we are in danger of breaching the PSR rules, this was an easy way of doing so, and we have seen similar at Everton historically when they sold the options for the naming rights for the new stadium many years ago. Aston Villa did sell their stadium to themselves as well. So these rules have been adopted by Premier League clubs historically, but I now think that there's sort of a bit of a credibility gap, and the majority of the clubs. Remember, these rules only just sneaked through. I think it was 13 in favour, 6 against, and 1 abstention. That the majority of the clubs felt it really wasn't appropriate.
Kieran, I'm an avid listener to The Price of Football, your podcast with Kevin Day, and also sort of following you on social media. And one of the lines that jumped out on social media when I was going through your many posts last night was, "It's a case of stay in your lane." Does that sum it up in terms of basically don't get uppity, don't get above yourself? If you're in the middle classes at the moment, the drawbridge has been pulled up, stay in your lane?
I do think so. I think if you're a supporter of those aspirational, those ambitious clubs, and in those I include Villa, Newcastle, Nottingham Forest, potentially Everton under the new owners as well, that they were restricted under the old rules because they couldn't overspend because they'd exceed the loss limit. If you now look at the new scenario, if you're a club such as Liverpool or Manchester United, Manchester City with revenues of £700 million, 70% of that is what you can effectively play on wages. That gives you a wage bill of £490 million. If you're Newcastle, revenue of £300 million, even if they go to this upper limit of 85%, it's still only around about, £255 million. So they can only pay just over half the wages of the existing elite clubs. And as we know, and you know from your comments and your experience, football's a talent game. talent follows the money, and if somebody is in a position to offer you double the wages, you're going to move your career there. So it makes it very difficult, I think, for those clubs to compete, and perhaps you can understand why perhaps they were in favour of this alternative, which we call anchoring, as opposed to the rules which have been introduced.
We're obviously all waiting on the Manchester City case. City deny all the charges, but obviously everyone would quite like it out in the open so that we can, if there's any sanction or whatever, apologies, and then everyone can move on. But doesn't that, when that gets announced, isn't that going to affect some of these rules and people's reaction to the rules?
I think there will be a credibility issue as far as the Premier League is concerned. It has invested heavily. It has effectively backed those people that have been critical of the Manchester City regime. And on the back of that, if the Premier League loses, then does that impact upon its own rules in their present form? So yes, I agree with you entirely there, Henry, in the sense that the Premier League has to be seen to be successful. I also fear that if Manchester City lose the case, then what we will see, and we have seen, I think, something similar arising where I think there's a conflict between Burnley and Everton over the most recent set of points deductions, is that those clubs that were impacted over the 9 years in which the Premier League is charging Manchester City, they could all line up and say, well, we would have won the Premier League this season, we would have qualified for the Champions League, and there could be a very, very long list of legal litigation issues arising, which will be heading towards City itself. So I think both the Premier League and Manchester City have a lot to fear from the verdict.
Yeah, I think I'd agree with that. What about Leicester City? What have they got to fear? Not that it's directly connected with these new rules.
Well, it looks as if the Premier League have charged Leicester City over a breach of PSR for the 3 years ended the 30th of June 2024. That was announced quite a few months ago, but I think both sides, because they've got distractions, have had needed longer to put this together. I think the understanding is that case could be starting this week, and there's a further danger with Leicester City is that they could also be charged by the EFL for a breach of PSR for the 3 years ended the 30th of June 2025. So there's a genuine concern. We don't know what Leicester's figures are yet for the current year, but there's a genuine concern it's going to end up with 2 points deductions from two different bodies, which will impact upon them this season. Whilst the Premier League and the EFL have had quite a long-going spat over the financial distribution, it does appear that they've got sort of a slightly better relationship now. Historically, if you got a points deduction in the Premier League and were relegated, the EFL wouldn't apply it and vice versa. But I think there's a chance that now could be struck off, and you could end up with different points deductions from different bodies in the same competition.
Kieran Maguire, football finance expert and author of The Price of Football. Thank you very much for bringing us up to date with all the new rules, which Henry loves, I'm sure, don't you?
Oh, honestly, I mean, it is so frustrating. I wish there was something at the start of the season where everyone would agree not to sue each other, to try and get on, to not spend however many tens of millions of pounds it is on lawyers every year. And lawyers are needed, I understand that. But can you imagine if you'd actually invested some of that money into grassroots football, into improving VAR?
Absolutely.
Giving more money, let's have better officials, whatever. It just seems money going out the game.
Just before we moved on, I've been given a slap on the wrist by an SMS here. Dixon wasn't part of the Invincibles. We were talking about Arsenal and Spurs earlier on. Yes, he was part of the back four, but it wasn't Invincible. He left. It was Lauren, who wouldn't get into the combined Arsenal Spurs 11.
The most difficult interview I've ever had, and I came out and everyone said, "Oh, Lauren's a great talker. How was it?" And I struggled. It was my fault. I just didn't ask the right questions, but I still get sleepless nights over that Lauren interview. Yeah.
And you'll have sleepless nights over your combined 11, because I'm sure people will be correcting you on that one as well. Anyway, this is Sunday Edition on talkSPORT with Shaun, Custis and Henry Winter. We're in the final section. We will look in depth at this afternoon's North London derby. This is Sunday Edition with myself, Shaun, Custis and Henry Winter. Now then, back in the day, back in the 80s actually, myself and talkSPORT reporter Alan Biggs used to chew over the troubles of Chesterfield. These days we chew over the troubles of Sheffield Wednesday and Sheffield United, who clash at Hillsborough today. Alan, what's the team news?
Yeah, good morning, Shaun. Those were simpler days, weren't they? And I support Chesterfield to this day, which is so convenient when mainly I cover the two Sheffield clubs. People are silenced when I tell them that. Good morning. Yeah, the team news. Both camps will be wondering about new signings, whether they're playing or not. Sheffield Wednesday signed Liam Cooper as a free agent this week, and Sheffield United signed Patrick Bamford. So that's two ex-Leeds United teammates thrown into this derby, but only thrown in on the bench. Liam Cooper's on the Wednesday bench, just adds a bit of experience. It's been very threadbare. Just two changes to the starting 11. Coming in, Jamal Lowe up front and also Ike Ugbo up front. Ugbo has not scored a league goal for 19 months. Now he can rewrite the entire script of his Sheffield Wednesday career were he to score a winning goal today. As for Sheffield United, they're unchanged from their most recent game, which stopped the rot. They'd had 3 successive defeats. They drew 0-0 against QPR. It's exactly that team, and with Bamford on the bench, either to be enjoyed or more likely endured. This one, usually an occasion that beats the game itself. Great partisan atmosphere, a game not to lose rather than win, I'd say. But it's a free hit for Sheffield Wednesday amid their traumatic season, with relegation long looking certain. Winning a derby against the odds, potentially the only highlight, but not so for Sheffield United. So much more expected than to be bottom 3. A dangerous game for them, despite Chris Wilder's unbeaten record as manager across 6 derbies. The scene is set at Hillsborough for Sheffield Wednesday versus Sheffield United.
Alan, when people talk about the most ferocious derbies, the Steel City derby doesn't often get mentioned, but having covered a couple of them in my time, I mean, even with a sort of high noon kickoff, they are ferocious occasions, aren't they?
Henry, yeah, fierce, feverish. I would like to see the city of Sheffield produce, for a change, an exciting game, because of recent times they've been dreadfully dull. I mean, I can imagine if you're watching in Bristol or Birmingham or London, you'd switch off pretty quickly, because they're just cancelling out processes. They're usually, the last 2 have only been won by a single goal, and the 3 before that were 0-0. So if I were to utter a wish as a neutral, genuinely a neutral in this city, let's hope it's an exciting, more exciting game today. And as I said just then, Henry, the accent does seem to be more on not losing. Even Sheffield United supporters I've spoken to, their team should be favourites today. Some of them have said to me, yeah, I'd take a draw now. Like a visit to the dentist, you know.
Sounds like you're really looking forward to it, Alan.
Yeah.
Anyway, Sheffield Wednesday v Sheffield United. If you fancy it, it's a talkSPORT 2 exclusive. There'll be commentary from Joe Shannon and the former Liverpool women's striker Courtney Sweetman-Kirk. And Alan Biggs will be reporting on it for talkSPORT. However, there is another big derby today, which we touched on, which is earlier on, which is Arsenal against Spurs, and Arsenal can go 6 points clear with a win over their North London rivals. Now, earlier on, we were doing a combined Arsenal and Spurs 11. We didn't get this fella into it, but I'm sure he will get into it eventually. Bukayo Saka, who's been linked with signing a new contract for the Gunners, and his manager, Mikel Arteta, had this to say about a potential new deal at Friday's press conference.
Well, what I'm very aware of is that he wants to continue with us, that he's very happy, that he's in the place that he wants to continue to be and achieve everything that we want to achieve together. And then when that happens and how it happens, I leave that to Andre and the club to figure out.
Saka's consistency now, Henry, now he's hopefully got all of his injury problems, it's been one of the keys to Arsenal this season.
He has, obviously with the ball at his feet when he is attacking in open play, but also his dead balls. I mean, he loves the responsibility for penalty taking. I love the character that he showed after that horrendous abuse he endured, along with Marcus Rashford and Jadon Sancho after the Euro 2021 final. I just love the way that he has just sort of embraced that pressure. It shows the calibre of the man. And if I can just throw in a little sort of tiny insight from midweek, London Playing Fields Foundation, we've had Alex Walsh, the chief executive, come on and talk about the fact that 20% of grass football pitches in London have disappeared since 1990. I think it's around 20%. And Bukayo Saka, they had a fundraiser in midweek. Bukayo Saka sent along a signed shirt, as did Spurs. Spurs were really good as well. So, yeah, as a role model, I think he's fantastic. And I think when Arsenal factor in making sure they keep him, obviously it's 99% because of his footballing abilities, what he contributes on the pitch. But off the pitch, fabulous role model.
I know these things go in cycles with footballers. You can be up, you can be down. But Saka right now looks like somebody who doesn't have a care in the world. He's enjoying his football with England, with his club.
Starts with England.
Everything's going very, very well.
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously...
And it rubs off on the players.
I think so, yes. And he has that connection now with Jurriën Timber, who's been terrific for Arsenal this season when the two of them are playing. Arsenal have options on the right. I mean, I'm not saying Darwin should be playing there or Nwaneri, but Madueke can obviously play there as well. Eze can play either side. There are options, and that's the most important thing about Arsenal this season is the strength in depth. You mentioned Gabriel missing today, but Mosquera, he's played already and he looks good. Nkappi can come in at left back or at centre back if needed. Obviously Calafiore is out. Miles Lewis-Skelly I think is available. I hope he's available because he could do with a run in the side. So look, Arsenal have got the strength in depth. People are questioning, have they got the strength of mentality, which they will need in the North London derby. But look, they look well placed in this title race.
So Gabriel out and could be out for a while, which is significant. As you say, there is backup there, maybe a grade up from what Kiwior was when he was coming in. Odegaard though could be back. How significant is that going to be?
I mean, he's very useful. I mean, he's the captain.
He's very useful.
He is very well. He is. I mean, he's a very talented player.
I mean, he's been doing well.
He has been doing well, but I mean, Eze, plays for slightly over, but I think he's been good in there. I mean,
do you think it's hard to get them both on the same side then? I
mean, it's a really good point. I mean, Trossard, whether he starts on the left, I mean, he's been excellent there. I mean, do you think Odegaard comes back in? I mean, do you think he starts?
He might not today,
yeah,
but at least have him back fit.
And what a player to have coming in. I mean, his use of the ball. But I mean, Arsenal's most important player for me at the moment is Declan Rice. I think their balls...
Not good enough to get in your combined 11.
No, it's not, but I mean, he's not going to get in ahead of Hoddle at the moment. But look, with the way that Zubimendi is playing, that's sort of unleashed Declan Rice to go on, a little bit like Elliot Anderson has with England. But yeah.
Declan okay, Spurs got any chance?
Yeah.
Where would you see it coming from if they were to win it?
I mean, a Van de Ven.
Run from his own off.
Yeah, I mean, they need that centre forward to actually. I mean, Richarlison, he's not a centre forward for me. He's still a bit hit and miss. Randall Kolo Muane, who's come in, I think he's had a fractured jaw, so I don't know whether he's having to put a mask on or whatever. They do have one or two players coming back. I mean, Mohamed Kudus, if he's fit and can play, I know he's been training. He's been excellent for them. So, yeah, it's just that centre forward, Dominic Solanke, that the ankle issue as well.
Again, not prolific anyway. I mean, yes, he had the one good season at Bournemouth, but
he would start. Right? He would start for them if he was fit. I think they could do with Kulusevski, who's had a knee problem back, but I mean, he's definitely out at the moment. But they miss him.
Victory for Arsenal then?
Probably, but Thomas Frank has organised that defence. But I think it will be, I think if you looked at a 2-1 Arsenal win.
Indeed. I'm with you on that one. That's it for Sunday edition this week. Next up, it's the warm-up with Max Rushton and Barry Glendenning.